I want to do a bit of show and tell here and introduce you to my two ES-335s, the one I'm holding and then the one behind me there. These are the guitars that I have played most of the time when I'm playing electric guitar for most of my working professional life as a guitar player. I own other guitars now, and I've owned other guitars in the past, but the 335 really feels like home to me. The sound of it, the feel of it, the just the whole weight of it. When I'm playing it with a strap. So I just want to talk about these two guitars and share some of my history with them. This is not a definitive history of the Gibson ES-335. Uh, I don't even know the definitive history of the Gibson ES-335. I don't know who invented this shape or any of that kind of stuff. But I do know my history and I do know these guitars, and I'm going to talk about them a little bit here. And I'm going to play them. And so you can learn what the difference is from these two eras. This guitar is from 1979. I think I worked out from the serial number that it was its birthday is September 27th, 1979, and it was made at the Kalamazoo factory. And the one behind me there, also made in Kalamazoo in 1964. Uh, so different eras, some different things going on with the construction, and so let me talk about that a little bit. Uh, the first thing is that this guitar is still very shiny because it's finished with again, see, I don't know the definitive whatever, but uh, something that stays shiny forever, some kind of finish that's some sort of polyurethane, something or other. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, you can see it's plenty shiny. Which the other guitar is pretty dull, and they're both beautiful in different ways. But the first thing that I would notice if you handed these two guitars to me and I had my eyes closed or was blindfolded, I'd be able to tell them apart instantly just by how they feel. This guitar still feels shiny. It doesn't just look shiny, but it feels shiny. The other guitar feels like it looks, which is more age appropriate. So that's one thing that's different. Another thing that's different is that the Gibsons from this era, the neck is maple and it's also different pieces. I don't know if you can see, there's three pieces here, and then in the headstock, there's two more pieces just at the outside of the headstock. So it's really five pieces of maple glued together, bonded together. There's also this volute. I guess people were complaining that Gibson's the headstock could snap too easily, so they built this kind of reinforced thing there. I think with the maple neck and the volute, I've never dropped this guitar or it's never fallen off a guitar stand, but I think it would be okay. If that guitar fell off the guitar stand, I would be very, very concerned because the first thing that would probably break would be the headstock. So those are some things that are different. Maple, ply neck, and volute. And I think because of the maple neck, this guitar is a little snappier. Um, like it just speaks more immediately, especially plugged in, but even acoustically, it just has a kind of quickness to it. And then these pickups are quite a bit different than those pickups. They have more, what can I say, more heat to them, more mid range, and more immediacy, and more clarity, you could say. Great for when you're trying to do something that's more aggressive. with overdrive, distortion, whatever, or just a part that really you want to dig into. It's great for that. It's not, I don't think it's not as naturally built to be a soft sound. So I've spent many years learning to play in such a way that softens the sound. I play with a very light touch. If I were playing this guitar and just handed it off to another guitar player without making any adjustments and they started playing, it would most likely sound a lot louder than it did when I was playing it, because I have a very light touch, which I think was, like I say, informed by the sound, what this guitar wants to do. I mean, think about it, 1979. Think about what music was like in 1979. It wasn't soft. So that's, I guess, what this guitar was built to do. Even though it's still in the shape of the guitar from the late 50s, it's more of a kind of a rock machine. It's got a trapeze tailpiece on it. Everything is original. Maybe I might have replaced one of the pots at some point. I have a vague memory of that. I'm not totally sure. It's been refretted. When this guitar was new, the frets had been just milled almost flat right from the factory. That's just how it came. So it was a pretty tough guitar to bend on, which may have been one of the reasons when I first started out that I didn't do a lot of bending in my guitar playing. I mean, I was listening to players that bent, and I tried to do it, but it was not easy. And only later, when I was maybe 21 or something, when I was starting to actually play other people's guitars and learn about how guitars could be set up, it finally hit me that, like, oh, this guitar has no frets on it. Maybe I should put new fret. I didn't even know that that was a thing that people did, refretting guitars, until that point. I just wasn't that much of a gear nerd. I had my guitar and I played my guitar, and that was it. And then I refretted it, and it came to life. I mean, it had just kind of sat under my bed for a while. I had bought, when I was, I think, 18 or 19, somewhere in there, I bought a GNL ASAT sort of Telecaster style guitar, because I was in a band where they asked me. It was like an R&B Stax Volt thing, and they wanted a Steve Cropper sound, and so I bought that guitar, and then this guitar kind of sat under the bed for a while, and then when it finally hit me, like, oh yeah, refret it. I did refret it, and then it went back to being my main guitar. It just really came to life. This bridge is not the original bridge. The first one kind of collapsed. I remember one guitar repair guy took it off and put it on a vise or an anvil or whatever, and just flattened it out and put it back on, and it lasted a while longer, but it was just really, I guess, sort of cheap pot metal, and maybe I was resting on it a lot. I don't know. So eventually I got another one, and this one has been stable. Original pickups. People sometimes ask me, what pickups I would recommend as replacement pickups for this type of guitar. I have no idea, really, because these are the original pickups, and the other guitar back there also original pickups. So sorry, I don't have any good advice there. This is the guitar that I played on Give Me One Reason. That's a Tracy Chapman song that I got to play the blues on. That's on this guitar. Pretty much straight into 64 or 65 Fender Deluxe Reverb. I may have been going through some effects. I don't remember. At that time, I didn't have any effects pedals, but I did have this Roland SE50 multi-effects box that I was using a lot. So I may have done a little bit of something with EQ and compression and drive, but I can't remember. I might have just been plugged straight into the deluxe reverb. But if you've heard that song, the rhythm guitar part is Tracy Chapman, but the guitar solo is me on this guitar. That session was a little bit stressful because I didn't know what I was doing, and it's my first real professional session like that, and I wasn't used to working with a producer and an engineer and all that stuff. Really, even though I was almost 30 at that point, it was my first real experience like that. Before that, I had done some studio work, but mostly was playing live gigs and teaching and stuff like that. So anyway, I was a bit stressed out, and one day I picked up a label. I'm trying to do this without knocking stuff over here. I don't know if you can see this, but I made this label. It says Breathe, Groove, Energize. And I stuck it on here. I guess this is 1995. It's still on there. Pretty amazing. Shout out to Brother P-Touch Label Maker for it's a quality product. As you can see, I've worn a lot of finish off of this guitar. Put some dings and scratches, and there's some buckle rash and stuff. But all in all, I think it's in pretty good shape for how much I've played it. It's a little heavier than my other one. I can't tell you what they weigh. I really have no idea. But I can tell you that this one is heavier than the other one. You might notice that it has two switches. This is the pickup selector, three-way. This is a two-way switch that splits the coils, so you can get single coil sounds on this guitar. Honestly, I almost never use them. The sound is not that interesting. If I want a single coil sound, I'll just borrow a Telecaster or something. This guitar doesn't replace a Strat or a Telecaster or anything like that. Occasionally, I'll use this sound, maybe in an overdub, if I need this guitar to sound kind of cheap and less interesting, then that's what this switch does. But I don't know what Gibson was thinking when they included that switch, but I think of it as something that makes the guitar sound worse. And they were probably not thinking that. They probably were thinking that it was some kind of value added thing. I also played this guitar on Norah Jones's first record. The solo on Come Away With Me is this guitar. The solo on Nightingale is this guitar. And then I took this guitar out, and this is my main guitar with her on tour. I think if you've seen the DVD live in New Orleans, I'm mostly playing this guitar. I didn't have any other guitars until a little bit later. Then I got another Telecaster, and I was off to the races. But this has just been my main thing for a long time. But around 2004 or 5, I was still touring with Norah. I started to think, well, what if I got the kind of ES-335 that people seem to talk about a lot in interviews and in books and stuff. Something more like a classic ES-335. Didn't have to be a dot neck, from '58, but something a little closer to that. I was curious about a mahogany neck rather than this maple neck. I was curious about other pickups. Something like PAFs, or at least patent number pickups, maybe something a little lighter weight, and something with sunburst. Like, I always loved Larry Carlton, and I was thinking maybe I would get a guitar that looked sort of like his, with a sunburst finish and block inlays and a stop tailpiece. And I, at that time, didn't know a lot about vintage guitars, And I reached out to the only shop that I was friendly with at that time, which was a shop in San Francisco called Real Guitars. They are still there, still a great shop. And I was on the road, I remember thinking about getting a classic ES-335. And I wrote to them, I emailed the shop, and Chris Cobb, one of the two owners, wrote back to me. I asked him if they had any ES-335s in the shop, and he said, like, we, the shop, don't have one, but I have one. I bought a 335, and I'm going to let it go, so do you want to see some pictures? And so he sent me some pictures, and it was this gorgeous looking guitar. It looked like the guitar, at this time, GarageBand was something I was using on my laptop, and the little GarageBand icon. This guitar looked kind of like that, and it looked like Larry Carlton's guitar. And I just thought, wow, that thing looks amazing. And he quoted me a price, and I don't remember what it was, but it was a very fair price and a lot less than what you would pay for a guitar like that today. I don't think I would have bought it for what they sell for today, but it was, I don't know, $5,000 or something like that, which is still a lot of money. But I was touring and making money, and I thought, I can spend $5,000 on a guitar that I'll use. And so, without actually playing the guitar, just seeing a bunch of pictures of it, and not even great pictures, because this is like 2004 or 5, so remember what digital pictures looked like then. Anyway, I bought it, and Chris sent it to me, and as soon as I took it out of the case, I was immediately in love with it. And voila, this is my 1964 ES-335 that I got in 2004 or 5. So this is a pretty different guitar. It's a little bit lighter weight than the 79. I think it's a little bit more evenly balanced when you wear it with a strap. These pickups are obviously different than what you would get in 79. When I bought this guitar, Chris Cobb, who I bought it from, told me that he had reversed them. I guess when he bought this guitar, the neck pickup was reading hotter than the bridge pickup, which is not very useful when you're playing. You want the bridge pickup to be the thing you step on when you play a solo. So he swapped them. Now, it's possible that the previous owner had swapped them the other way because he or she wanted more heat on the neck pickup, and then Chris was just putting them back to their original orientation, or lots of other things are possible. I really don't know, but they are the original pickups, and I know that Chris swapped them. Some other stuff. This black switch cap is not the original one. I do have the original one, but one of my guitar repair guys, Mike Cornwall, put this on there, and I thought it looked really cool. This tailpiece is not original. Well, of course it's not original because this guitar originally had a Bigsby. You can see the kind of shadow there, where the finish kind of faded differently. It's really noticeable in person. I'm not sure how much this is reading on my video camera. And you can see the holes there. So this guitar came with a Bigsby, but I think the conversion was done long ago, before I bought it, before Chris bought it. It was refretted. Again, I don't know all the history there. I couldn't tell you what these frets are. I'm not that much of a guitar nerd. I bet more of you know more about this stuff than I do. Other than that, it's mostly original except for required maintenance and stuff. Amazingly, no headstock crack. It's a beautiful mahogany neck. I wouldn't say it's round, but it is rounder than the 79. That 79 feels kind of a little wider this way and a little flatter this way. This guitar neck has just a beautiful curve to it. It's not a baseball bat, but it's not a slim neck or a fast neck. I don't like slim, fast necks. I would always prefer something a little bit more curvaceous. It doesn't have the volute. You know, I showed you the volute on the 79. I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you. Oh, the back is so beautiful. I love how this has gotten kind of scratched up, and I think it's really pretty. I wish I could show this to you even in greater detail, but I'm not that great of a photographer. You know, I see newer guitars where they do stuff like this with aging effect and stuff, but just honest wear and tear is always more appealing to me. I'm not a big new guitar guy. I really like older guitars. I have a new guitar. I have a Collings i30, and I have been doing everything I can to put some mileage on it because I'll be glad the day that it looks like this. I'm who knows? I may not live that long. I mean, this guitar is 60 years old almost. I don't expect to be alive 60 years from today, but that i30 will be, and it'll be in someone's hands, and I think it'll be a better guitar for whatever honest wear and tear I can put on it, gigging, traveling, and so on. So when I'm not playing these guitars, that's the other guitar that I've been really into lately. But I'm just trying to get that new guitar smell off of it. I'm not into not into shiny new guitars so much. So that's show and tell. That's my two ES-335s. Oh, I forgot to mention their names. This guitar I call Lafayette, and that guitar back there, that is Esther. Esther and Lafayette. Guitar tips, just the tips, just for you. Guitar